crazy, possibly. Yeah, she got on sale. Got tamales in a red eye. Oh yeah, she got on sale. Got two on the couple for that. My wheat selling my but ain't none of mine. No, got tamales in red eye. Yeah, she got on sale. Oh no.
But her friend is nowhere to be seen. Now she walks through a sunken dream to the seat with the clearest view. Now she's hooked to the silver screen.
Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Better run, 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 run away.
We're in Bracklesham event on the Isle of Wight, and I have got Mr. Will Grove White, and he's very kindly said he'll have a little chat. Hello, Will.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Now, I don't actually know very much about Will at the minute, so I'm really looking forward to this, but I do know, who did he used to play with?
With the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain.
Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain. The Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain.
That's
right,
the one.
I'm not going to keep saying that. We call it the Ukes,
The
is
Ukes
it?
is what we used to call it, yeah. Goes too much of a mouthful. Yeah.
So, do you want to sort of go back over your history a little bit and explain?
Yeah, well, I started playing the ukulele when I was about 13, I'd say, and had a little group at school I was playing with, and with another mate.
Yeah.
And then I found out about this. I read an article about a ukulele orchestra, it must have been in about the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
I read about them. And they used to do gigs in a room at the top of a pub in North London. So I went along.
So there was alcohol involved?
Yeah.
Presumably.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, it was a kind. Yeah, it was. They were basically a bunch of sort of art school and music school and sort of generally the artsy sort of university lot and poly lot from Leeds University.
Oh, right.
And they'd come down to London and just for a sort of scheme had got a ukulele orchestra together just for a laugh, for a one night gig, which had then become popular and started rolling this night in a pub. And I went along and it was just brilliant, and it was about sort of 15 of them at that time.
Right.
And it was all singing and playing. It sounded beautiful, and they were just cool characters. And I used to go along all the time.
Yeah.
And eventually a whole raft of people left, some people stayed, and then I got asked to join when I was about 16.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So me and with Hester and Jonty, we all joined at the same time.
Right.
And and anyway, then we gigged and gigged and gigged, and we always got, we'd always get a little bit of money, and we'd sort of go and play in different pubs, and slowly built the set. In the meantime, I went to university, and and we had a tour of Japan while I was at university, because weirdly we'd recorded an album, there was a big ukulele scene in Japan.
Yeah.
And so we went out to Japan to do it in '94, I think, did a tour of Japan. And we found also there were all these ukulele shops in Japan. Like, we'd never seen it, because in London you couldn't get a ukulele.
No.
I mean, there was one shop, Ivor Mayrant's, where you could find ukuleles, but it was very hit and miss, and a lot of them weren't built properly.
Wow. If you don't know about the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain, where have you been? All right, we're talking, and I have problems with this word. They're a phenomenon. Is that right?
Phenomenon.
No, I can't say it. It's a phenomenon. All right, but they are world class. We're talking here, and the names you just mentioned. Then when you joined, people like Jonty, that's the sort of group I remember seeing on the TV.
Yeah. So that was Jonty, George, Kitty, Hester, Peter came a tiny bit later, but not much.
Yeah.
And then Richie, and I've probably forgotten someone, Dave. But you know, so anyway, to cut a long story short, we went to, you know, we did more and more gigs. Eventually, some village hall tours, where we really consolidated the act together.
Yeah.
And then we were playing at the Barbican, and loads of stuff was going on YouTube.
Yeah.
This was with the internet.
Yeah.
That really helped us a lot. And then eventually we ended up playing at the Proms and the Carnegie Hall and the Royal Opera House. Sydney Opera House.
Yeah, the absolute top of world.
No, we knew we'd peaked.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh my God, this is it's only downhill from here.
So how long did you play with them for?
For 31 years.
Wow,
or something,
that's a long time. Right, so I know it's a very long time. I'm going to put you on the spot now. Favourite venue?
Favourite venue were the gigs we did in the early days at a place called it wasn't the best sound or anything, but for vibe, it was when it was on the climb up. It was getting really exciting. A venue called Cecil Sharp House, which is a folk house in Camden. And we do a gig every month there. And they just got bigger and bigger, and I started running an email list. So people were coming back and back and back. And it was just terrific. It was like a secret gang. You could get a couple of hundred people in the room.
Yeah, it's nice, an intimate gig.
Really good, and lots of heckling. And George would do lots of things. George would sometimes just hand music out during the gig, new stuff.
Wow!
Just to keep us all on our toes.
Yeah.
You know. But no, it was really those were really fond memories of those. Yeah.
All right then. So, what was your favourite piece of music or song to play? Because the arrangements for the Uke Orchestra are insane. They're different to anything.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, no, we spent lots of time on the arrangements. We'd all sort of have our little role.
Yeah.
That was the interesting thing, like any orchestra. If you if you just said to the violinist, hey, play me some concerto.
So you were all involved in the process of the arrangements?
Oh yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, we'd almost make it. So basically, we'd all bring tunes along.
Yeah.
And George would always bring loads of stuff along, which we'd filter through.
Yeah.
And he always had the most sort of unusual ideas of sort of old school stuff and weird new things to do or weird songs he'd heard. And then we'd have a chord sheet and a melody sheet written out, and then we'd start with that and the words, and we'd just start with that, and someone would sort of take control of the singing of the song. Yeah. It was often the person who brought the song, and but not always. And then we just find our parts within it and make it work.
Wow.
And there were some people who were much better at the twiddly stuff, and some people who were really. I was a strong rhythm player, so that's me and Kitty did that mostly. Dave would do sort of weird, sort of astral stuff up at the top, and Peter would do finger picking. And you just sort of put it all together and play in different places, and it would all work. I mean, I think I was proudest of sort of getting some of the classical ones together, like Dance Macabre.
Oh,
we did,
yes,
and that was a hell of an effort. Because we thought we'd better do something big and classical at the Proms.
It's a brilliant piece, but your arrangement of it just worked.
Oh yeah, that was
so well.
Yeah. But I mean, we couldn't have done that without George's musical mind, because he could look through a whole score and just say, okay, let's just call that D minor. Let's call that. That's like an E tormented ninth. That's whatever it was. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So 30 odd years, that's a large chunk of your life, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
when you've left, you've moved on now. So what sort of things are you doing at the minute?
Well, at the moment, so I left in lockdown just because the kind of touring I was finding was just becoming a bit too... I was losing the vim, and I thought it needed some new people to get some vim going in it. And it's still going great. And I've been writing music all my life. Well, not all my life, but a lot of my life. So that I write music, and that I make a bit of money from that. And but I've been turning my hand to ukulele making lately. So
I will, at this point, I will show you guys, because I've already got some footage of Will's ukuleles. They're incredible, all right? So, yeah, while we're chatting, you will see some of his ukuleles. So, I've got to ask, do you have like a carpentry background or anything like that?
Well, oddly, I know I don't have a carpentry background, but definitely an artistic background.
Yeah.
And when I, in my 20s, I got really into automata.
Right.
You know, automata is like a wooden toy, but with a handle you wind and it
I'm
moves.
with you, yeah,
Move.
yeah.
And I had this was while the ukes were ticking over.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, maybe I can make automata and I can, sell. And I did. I made quite a lot of automata and I sold quite a lot of it. But then the ukes took over.
Yeah, yeah.
And that bit of my life sort of got put to one
Yeah.
side because I never thought I was going to be a musician.
Yeah.
I've ended up.
So was it ukuleles were the first instruments you'd made, or had you tried
Ukuleles
making
were the
anything
first
else?
I made. No, so I went
Wow.
and lived in with Pete Howlett up in Wales, in Snowdonia, for a few weeks, and we made a couple of ukes, and he gave me loads of, guidance. And he's a real mentor and fantastic maker. And then I came back, and he was always saying, don't just do it how I've shown you to do it. Put your own thing in it and look around and find your groove, find your way to do it. So that's really what I've been doing for the last couple of years, is finding my groove. I think I've found it now. And the ones I'm making currently, which you won't be able to see, but I think they're the best ones, so it's good because they're getting better.
Like I saw you in Cheltenham, I just didn't, every time I sort of got quite close to the table to see them, I never actually got, because you were surrounded continuously.
Oh yeah, God, that was absolutely bonkers, Cheltenham. There's so many people there.
But you make, how do we say, some very unique instruments. So where does the wonky uke
I've got these wonky ones.
From?
So that's where the neck comes off at a funny angle. Well, because of the way I'm putting the necks on the ukulele, so I don't put them on flat. So a lot of ukuleles at the top are very flat, and then they come round in the curve. I'm nodding as
if I understand how, but I get the
but
general.
you put the flat neck onto the flat top.
Yeah.
But I wanted the curve, and so I've been cutting them in a bit like violin makers do it. Yeah. So, and then I was just lying in bed and I thought, I could just put one off to the angle. I wonder what that would be like. And you think, well, I might as well try.
You did, and
they sound pretty good. It doesn't seem to affect the sound too dramatically. You know.
I've yet to play one. I will try and play one for the end of the weekend.
It's really comfortable because you're not in a straight line like that. Your arms like that. It's much more ergonomic. You know what I mean?
I will definitely try one before the end of the weekend. So, and now you're doing a sort of solo career into. Have you always played solo?
No, never. No. I mean, the odd thing with friends and stuff. No, and it's not really a solo career, but I mean, it's what I like to see as a way of sort of going alongside the ukes. I do miss performing. Yeah, that's that I would, if I could just be in the ukes for the gigs. Yes, if I could be teleported to the gig and do the gig, I would never have left. But all the rest of it. So I do miss that performing bit, and it's been really fun trying to dream up a way of doing a solo show just with ukuleles that's kind of somewhat entertaining and not too just endless ukulele.
I saw Will perform last night, and you guys will see it. If you're only watching this as the interview, go and check out the video for Bracklesham, Isle of Wight, because you will see some of Will's performances, and it was brilliant, I've got to say.
Well, maybe you had to be there. I don't know if it'll translate through the medium of video.
So what's the plan for the future then?
Well, I'm just going to keep making the ukes, keep writing music, and I'm going to start doing a bit more writing about ukuleles, I think. So I've done a book about ukuleles.
Oh, wow.
And how to play and the history of it all and that stuff. So I was thinking I could do a bit more of that. I've been writing a bit for Uke magazine, and now I'll be writing a bit for Ukulele magazine in America now.
Cool, yeah.
So that'll be interesting. I mean, you just think, I sort of, started with the ukulele when I was 13 and I just can't shake it. So I might as well.
But you were one of the, there's not that many of you guys who started with ukulele. There's so many guitarists who went on to ukulele, or bass players who went on to ukulele.
Well, there's a lot of ukulele players who went on to guitar.
Yes,
that's
true.
That's Jimi Hendrix.
Well, all the Beatles.
And Joe Strummer.
Yeah.
And David Byrne.
I didn't know about him as well.
Yeah, and David Bowie as well.
Yeah, I did know about him, yes. Yeah.
Joni Mitchell.
Yes.
She played a baritone uke for the
was it baritone?
When she was Joni Anderson.
That's what I'm getting confused now. Yeah. No, it's an incredible instrument at the end of the day,
but I've never moved on from it. That's my problem. I never got to the guitar.
I wish I'd discovered ukulele earlier, because I was one of these ones who was very much like, oh, do you want to try teaching you? I was like, I'm not teaching you. I scoffed, and I shouldn't have. Yeah. And I actually owned a uke for a couple of years before I started using it. The minute I picked it up and I was hooked.
Yeah, well, I think it's like they talk about, marijuana or something being a gateway drug to harder drugs.
Yeah.
I think the ukulele is a gateway instrument to more complicated instruments.
Absolutely,
once you've got a taste of music with you, because it's so simple the way it breaks it down into just these 4.
That's it.
And it's not a novel thing. This is what guitars used to be in the years and years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, centuries ago.
Yeah.
So we're keeping it real.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is your moment. If you get a chance to go and see Will play, or buy his ukes, or see him somewhere, go and do it. But is there anything you want to tell the world? How to contact you? Good
idea. Very good. Yes, my website willgrovewhite.com. Go and have a look, and there's all my ukuleles there. There's all the music I've written. There's information and lots of unnecessary rambling and stuff, and pages and pages about weird instruments that I like.
I like weird instruments.
The nose.
The nose. I was hooked last night on the nose flute. I need one now, not just one. Need one. The nose flute. It's
not the world's most attractive instrument, but it does exist, and it needs to be out
there.
So
thank you, Will. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you a little bit. And if you get the chance to go and see Will play, or see his instruments, or just remember the fact he is one of the members of the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain, do it, please.